Hello, everyone. Welcome to another Tuesday of TRX. We are going to do some progression exercises. So we'll have 3 rounds with the same general exercise in each round, an upper body, a lower body, and a core exercise. But each round will get progressively harder, although still with the same exercise. So we're just going to build on our round 1. Round 2 will be a little harder than round 1, and round 3 will be a little harder than round 2. At the very end, we'll do a little 6 minutes of cardio, and then you'll have the option of picking whichever exercise you feel like would fit you best for that round of cardio. So with that said, you shouldn't need anything more than your straps, obviously, and a mat. If you don't have straps, I'll do my best to give you some general options to complete the exercises and work alongside with us. So with that said, let's go ahead and get started with our warm-up. So the first warm-up exercise we have is a chest stretch. So let me make sure you're angled well there. So chest stretch, you'll be at mid-length on your straps, which is right in the middle of the top and the bottom here. So here we are, chest stretch. We're at mid-length, so we're going to turn and stand and face away from our anchor point. And here, with these Frankenstein arms, we're just going to kind of stretch our chest and lunge forward and get our legs and arms working. So stretching out the chest, mostly putting the work in our legs, but letting the straps help us open this chest. So if you don't have straps, you'll need to get a doorway, like I kind of have one here, but it's not a great example. So just sort of try to work with me without me actually doing some of that. You can get in a doorway like this, maybe about like that angle, so about 45 degrees, and you can lunge forward a little bit. So you can use a doorway for a lot of these sort of stretching open exercises. So let's just do a few more here. We'll move on to the next thing. So we're just, lunge is something we're gonna see a lot, so make sure we're real mobile in that area. One more, we'll stand back up. Okay, and so our next, we're gonna keep on with the chest stretches because we've got some push-up series stuff we're gonna do. So want to make sure our chests are nice and warmed up and open. So for our chest stretch, we're going to be at mid-length still, and we're still standing and facing away. We're going to walk forward till our arms are even with our bodies here, like this. So same deal with the doorway. You can have a doorway like this too. Or, you know, if you just, I think you don't have to have the straps for this. You could stand without the straps and do this too. So for a chest stretch, we're going to have our feet offset, or this chest torso stretch, different version of what we just did. We're going to raise our right hand up into the air, so straight up and down, and we're going to cross that over. So you may have to adjust to make sure you still have tension on the straps. Let me angle this a little bit better so you can see my arms and what they're doing. So I'm here, offset feet, right arms up. I walk forward just a little bit to keep that tension, to adjust, and then I'm going to lean this way. So just reaching out of your side body up into the right hand through those fingers and crossing over the center line. So come back, right, then you're keeping these feet the same. Left hand's coming up and reaching up out of that side body and stretching over to your right side. So energy out the left fingers. Okay, so back to standing, switch your feet. Now my left foot's in front, right arm's back. And again, you don't have to have the straps for these. They just really help facilitate keeping this tension and pulling your arms forward. You could still go in the doorway for this. You're not going to have the tension all the way through, but you could reach across to the door frame and kind of lean into that just to stretch along this upper arm area in the back of your tricep. So we have our left leg out in front. We're going to reach that right arm up again and stretch and reach over to the side. And come back down. Left arm is going to come up overhead and stretch up over, really reaching out of that hip and the left hip, and come back down. Okay, so our chest and torso and our legs are a little warmed up. We're going to do a little bit of hip hinge because we've got some hip mobility stuff that's going to be working. We're going to be working it with our core. So I want to make sure our hips are nice and warmed up and open. So we're just going to do a hip hinge. We've seen this a bunch before. Let me angle you guys again a little bit more that way. So hip hinge. We're at mid-length still in our straps and we're facing our anchor point. Our hands are right in front of our hips about. Feet are shoulder width apart, toes are facing forward, or they can be angled out a little bit, but whatever you're doing with one toe should also be done with the other toe. So if they're angled out, make sure they're both angled out. If they're forward, make sure they're both forward. So from here, we're going to stretch our hips all the way back first and then stretch out here. So we're just trying to open up the hamstrings and stretch through our low back a little bit and work open these hips. So come on back up and we're going to kind of keep this in motion. So stretch back again, arms come out. If you don't have straps, then you can always, I would say, keep your hands on your hips, keep your knees a little bent, stretch over forward as much as you can, and then you can release your arms down some. I would say once you get over into this position, keeping that back straight. Once your back straight as far as it can go, then you can relax, and at least you will get the same stretch, generally speaking. So just stick with us if you don't have straps and follow the same motions. Just make sure your back is straight first before you let yourself come all the way down. So here we are once. Let's do a couple more. And then we're gonna reach our hips back and press forward. Take a deep breath in and stand back up. And one more time like that. Hips back, breathe out and stretch forward. And let's stand back up and up. Okay, last thing. We're gonna need our mats for this. We're just gonna, this isn't so much a stretch as I just wanna get us comfortable with our plank position because, as I mentioned, we're doing some push-ups and I wanna make sure we have good form, no matter whether we're on our knees or on our toes or suspended, as the case may be. I'm having a hard time seeing. Okay, there it is. There we go. Okay, so your straps for plank need to be at mid-calf. So roughly halfway between this mid-length and fully lengthened, but where the foot cradle or this section right here, the very bottom, where that hits right about midway on your calf. So get your straps at mid-calf. If you don't have straps, you're just gonna do it without. So you'll have your knees will be down or your toes will be out, whichever version you need to practice. So to start with, especially since we're warming up, we're gonna start on our knees. So first of all, let's make sure our hands are directly underneath our shoulders. Our knees are directly underneath our hips, about the same width apart as our hips also. And this is very basic plank. This is level 1 plank. You can do this as your plank for your push-ups if you need this. This is an option. The next option would be, level 2 would be your knees out like this. So you still have, here is where we were, and now if we move our knees out, you can see that we have our hips, or our knees are in line with our hips all the way to our shoulders and our head. So it's just a little bit more leverage we've got going on here. So this is another option. And then the next step up would be all the way up to your toes. So you can be here, you can be here, or you can tuck your toes under and you can be here. So this is what it is if you don't have straps. If you do have straps, you could have been following me along, but we'll go through it now. So toes in the straps. You're going to be facing away from this anchor point here on the ground. So same deal. We can have our knees are right under our hips here. Your toes can be in the straps. You can do your hips are now in line with your knees and your shoulders, and your feet are in the straps. And then if you want to be suspended, you just lift those knees up, but still keep that straight line from your heels, pressing out through the heels, toes to the nose, knees come up, and your hips and your shoulders and your heels are all in line. So that is our plank. So whichever version you feel you need to warm up on, either knees directly under hips, knees back, so your hips and knees and shoulders are in line, or toes, knees, shoulders, hips all in line. So pick your version. We'll do a couple here. So knees are going to come up. We'll hold that for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and come back down. And we'll just do one more, and we're just getting our plank form ready so that we have got good form coming into the push-up. So once more, your version, coming on up for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Come on down, and that is our warm-up. So I'll get back with you guys in just a minute. Make sure you've got everything you need, get some water, and we'll start round 1 in just a minute.